the outback of Australia. It's hot, it's dry, it's far away from the major cities, and in one particular place, there are legit opals lying on the ground that you can find and take home with you for free. I kid you not. Lightning Ridge. Today, I'm going to tell you about this once-in-a-lifetime Wild West experience that you can have with your family. I'll show you how to do it, when's the best time to go, and all of the spots that you can go to find your own opals and cool down because it's hot. Hi, I'm Stacy. I'm a tour guide. I live in Sydney, Australia, and I'm the mom to an adorable 10-year-old, and we are always looking for really cool, awesome adventures to have. Now, I will tell you, I'm all about going to wacky places, but when I heard about Lightning Ridge and that they have an Easter festival where you can get opals, I was just like, what is this place? I like scrounging around for stuff. Whoa, I'm in. So today's video is kind of a two-parter. It's going to be great if you want to go to Lightning Ridge any time of year. Cool, I'll show you how to do it. But it's particularly great if you go to Lightning Ridge for the Lightning Ridge Easter Festival. Opals. So many opals. So much fun. So let's buckle in. I'll tell you how to do it and how to have fun, whether you're by yourself or whether you have kiddos in tow. Lightning Ridge. If you're not from Australia, you've probably never heard of it. If you're from Australia, you might not have heard of it. Where is it? So Lightning Ridge is on the border of New South Wales, which is a state. Australia only has a couple of those, so this is the big one that Sydney's in. And it's in Kamilaroi country, and it's up by the Queensland border, and it's when it starts to get dry. So the outback is this giant mass of Australia where it's hot. The soil is very clay-like and red, and it's known for kind of being like the wilderness, right? So if you think of the Wild West in the US folklore, the outback is kind of the same way, right? It's where bandits went to go hide. It's where there's gems. It's where there's all this exciting stuff. It's where you could die if you don't have water. So be prepared. Not always for the faint of heart, but Lightning Ridge is a little town. It's an oasis. We can do this. So Lightning Ridge is home to the black opal. So this is the amazing, gorgeous opal that's like fiery and like, you know, all kinds of stuff. And so like any other proper gold or gem rush town, it's known for collecting kind of like these people who don't live within the normal rules, right? So there are mining camps and you basically can buy like your little mining spot and people dig, and these are different levels. Like you can just go out with a pickaxe and like dig your shaft, or there's giant excavatory type production lines who are digging multiple caverns and caves. And so there's opals all over the place. There's the black ones. There's the whatever the normal ones are called. Whoa, it's a lot. There's even a TV show called Outback Opal Hunters, which we will be coming back to shortly because these people are famous for finding opals. Now, what's Lightning Ridge like? It's hot. It's a town of about 1,800 people, not a heap of people. During January, which is summer in the southern hemisphere, the record high is 119 degrees. That's like 47 or something in Celsius. Hot, hot, very hot. Be warned, bring water. Okay, so you can go to Lightning Ridge any time of year. I don't recommend it in January when it's hot, 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 but sure, whatever, suit yourself. I recommend going during the Easter festival. So during the Easter long weekend, which is always a public holiday in Australia, there is a big Easter festival on. It is epic. It is when a town of 1,800 people becomes more than 1,800 people, maybe 2,500. Whew, visitors, I know, right? So there's a carnival. There are fireworks. There are markets where you can buy opals. And there are events. Now, these are events that I have not seen before in my life, okay? So let me just take a couple moments to describe the events. I mean, I've seen a carnival before. I've seen fireworks before. I've even seen markets, and I could have pictured what a market with opals was like, even though seeing thousands of dollars of opals just on like plastic table was a little shocking. But the events, these are all centered around a mining culture. Okay, so there's a big dig and a little dig. So these are piles of rocks, and you buy raffle tickets to get a spot to dig through the rocks to find a prize. There are wheelbarrow hauling events. Like, you fill your wheelbarrow with all of the rocks that you can to fill up a bucket and run back and forth. I kid you not. These are real events, and the winners get prizes. Now, actually alone, that is worth going to. It is a fantastic experience to just live amongst what this mining culture and what the games that come out of it is. There are also Indigenous dancers that perform at the Lightning Ridge Easter Festival. There are little kid events like egg and spoon races. Like, this reminded me of any small town American festival 4th of July kind of vibe. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was also like a three-legged race or a sack race. It was just a fantastic experience. And yes, we bought opals. I'm going to actually circle back at the end to the souvenirs because I don't want the shiny opals to be distracting. Put it shortly. You can buy any kind of opal you want. You can buy the opals in the shops even if it's not Easter weekend, but lots of people just own these little ditches that they mine themselves. And so, like, the way that you might have like a veggie garden out in the back and you might sell your carrots at a farmer's market, people in Lightning Ridge sell the opals that they find just on a plastic table. And that will be like $1,000 opal or whatever. I'm not an expert in what makes opals valuable. We bought a couple things that are pretty. I'll show you that at the end, so stay tuned. Also, I mentioned the famous Opal Hunters. They're going to keep coming back. World-acclaimed TV show people. We met them at the Easter Festival. Listen, this is Lightning Ridge's time of year, and it brings out all the stops. So I highly recommend, if you go during the Easter weekend. I'm going to shut up about the Easter weekend now. It is my very strong, encouraging vibe, but everything else I say from now on works any time of year. Let's talk about these opals and what you can do as a visitor. So, fossicking is a word that I just learned in my Opal Ridge experience, and it means basically, like, you can fossick for seashells. It basically just means like digging through stuff to find cool stuff. So, anywhere in Lightning Ridge you go, you will probably find fossicking piles. So here's how it works. The mining people dig for their opals in shafts, okay? And a lot of the rock does not have opal in it. So they're digging out all the extra and they put it in wheelbarrows or whatever, and they have to dump it somewhere. So what happens is they'll dump it, maybe outside of their site. There's a couple of pubs. I'll talk about where to go fossicking soon. The visitor center, whatever. There are some spots. They dump all of this refuse. And you might think, why do I want to go looking for trash? But the opals that are valuable from a professional perspective are of a certain quality. There are so many little bits of opal that just are worthless to professional miners. So they may be too small. They just may not have sparkle in them. And they may not be actually even strong enough to cut. Like, you might find a gorgeous piece of opal, but if it has like a fracture or something, it would be damaged if it were cut outside of the rock. So it's kind of like worthless commercially speaking. So all of this stuff gets dumped in these piles that are available for fossicking, and you can go and look through them for free. You don't need any special equipment. Like, you'll read online that, like, bring a bucket, bring like a shovel, bring a water bottle. Like, sure, I guess you can bring a water bottle and I guess you can bring a shovel, but actually you can just, like, it's just gravel. Like, you can just look through it with your hands, and sure, bring a bag because I guess you want to take some home with you, but you don't need special equipment to do it. You look through, you actually will find something shiny in not that long. I was thinking, oh my God, we're going to be digging for ages and like everyone's going to get bored. But no, we actually found shiny stuff in these rock piles and it was so exciting. The Fossicking spots that are available for public Fossicking are pretty well marked. The famous ones are at the Lightning Ridge Visitor Center, I believe at the entry to the Lightning Ridge boundary. The 3 pubs, which I'm going to talk about soon, all have Fossicking areas, and you'll find some other ones and they'll say available for Fossicking or Fossicking pit. There's also one outside of town, which I'm going to link to below, which is a Fossicking area that allegedly has petrified wood in it, which is like so rare and amazing. It took me a lot of digging. Ha! Digging, I mean like internet digging, but anyway, a lot of digging on blogs and driving around to find out where this spot was. So I've added it to Google Maps and put the link below, and you can go there and it is just like, I can't even tell you, like acres of just like gravel that you can look through and see if you spot your luck with petrified wood. So the opportunities are many. Believe me, you will get bored and tired of doing it before you run out of rubble to go through, and you will have opals. Don't worry. Now, let me talk to you about opals just briefly. I'm not an expert, but I learned a couple things. So there is a kind of opal that's called potch. I mean, maybe it's wrong to say it's a kind of opal. Potch is opal, but it's colorless. Okay, this is potch. So potch is a kind of opal, but it's colorless. So it's gray. And I'm going to show you some more little bits of potch. It is opal, so it's clear, it's glassy, but it doesn't have any fire or any color or spark in it. You're going to find lots of this when Fossicking, and if you have kids like I'm excited about this stuff, right? It's fun to find. It is opal. It's just not like the shiny, super expensive kind. Put that in your bag. Don't get obsessed with finding like a black opal that's worth $1 million, because you're not going to find it in the Fossicking piles. The professionals have mostly gone through the Fossicking piles, but you will find little bits of opal, and some of it does have color in it. Let me show you one more that I found. All right, none of this is going to come up great on video, so I'm going to flash up a couple photos for you, but actually it's not bad. Can you see that? Can you see that color? So this is opal that we found in a Fossicking pile. You can see it's got color to it, it's got fire, and this is legit just stuff that's lying around in the ground. Now, for a commercial opal person, this is worthless to them. It's too small. They can't cut it into a shape to be used for jewelry, but that is exactly the kind of thing that you will find in the Fossicking piles in Lightning Ridge. So get ready, bring a little bucket or something if you want, or bag. We used a Ziploc bag, and you'll find so much stuff and have so much fun. So you're probably asking, Stacy, how much did you really find? So I'm going to go through this a bit more in the souvenirs, like at the end. But we basically found 2 vials full of what I would call like colored opal. Now, that piece that I just showed you is probably like the most amazing. This little guy is so good. But we found lots of other pieces that have some color in them. I mean, this is cool, right? So we were there for like 5 days, and we got like 2 vials like this from all of our digging, and we got so much potch that I would say like a full Ziploc bag, like quarter-size Ziploc bag full, that we were giving it away to people. So when Maddie came back, she like gave all of her friends opals, and kids think that is the coolest freaking thing ever, to just be like, hey, I came back from Lightning Ridge, here's a bag of opal for you, friend. Super lovely, but just be aware that most of what you're going to find is potch, but you will also find a chunk of colored pieces. So definitely go looking and have a lot of fun. Okay, pubs. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Stacy, you said kid friendly and now you're talking about going to pubs. It's fine. So let's just first talk about what a pub is. So in Australia, a pub is, yeah, okay, it is a bar, but it's short for public house. every Australian town has one, and it's almost kind of like just a local hangout spot. So there is beer, sure, but it's not like everyone's just sitting around drinking. It's where you would go for a lunch. And so in the Outback, in the Lightning Ridge area, next to the opal mines, like the big area used for opal mining, there are 3 pubs. Now, we took a tour bus to go to each of them. So I'm going to tell you the 3 pubs. You can absolutely drive there on your own, but please don't drink and drive. If you're planning to do that yourself, have a designated driver. And I'm also going to give you a couple of things that you can see on the way as you're doing that. We took a tour. It's called Outback Opal Tours. I loved them. They were great. They are like a small mom and pop kind of thing. It's like people with a van that drive you around. I think it was really nice to do it that way because then someone's driving you around. You don't have to worry about, you know, your navigation going out because you are in the freaking middle of nowhere. I'm also going to tell you about a really cool war memorial, and they made sure that it was open for us when we visited, whereas I can't guarantee it will be open for you if you just go at any random time. 3 pubs. Each of these 3 pubs has completely different personalities and were really cool to visit. Number 1, the Sheepyard Inn. It's sheep themed. It's got, listen, I don't even know what I can say about these places. I'm going to flash up some photos for you. It's in the middle of a mining camp. There's equipment all over the place, like someone just like got up and left and like couldn't be bothered to bring their truck with them. Every one of these pubs I'm mentioning has a giant fossicking area out the front. There's some old grizzled dudes in the window, like hardcore miners who I'm sure have been there forever and like they're just relaxing at the start or at the end of their day. The Sheepyard Inn has names on the wall for soldiers that have come from the area, and actually some soldiers have reunited like after finding someone from their same company, which is really super cool by all of the writing on the wall. In each of these places, I think it's just worth stopping, having a drink, checking it out. It's super cool. It's so interesting. And I'm a bit of a photography nerd, like just going around and taking photos of like really weird equipment and like rocks and people like sitting around. It's super cool. It's just a different experience. Sheepyard Inn, number 1. Number 2, the Glengarry Hilton. Listen, I don't know what to say. It's some kind of like storage shed thing that people added onto. This is, the whole Lightning Ridge is just like the Wild West. I can't do anything great to describe what it's like. Just look at the photos. The Glengarry Hilton, it has food too. Stop and had lunch. We had lunch here. It has like wine in little like souvenir glasses that cost way too much. And whatever, it's fine because you're having fun. You're just visiting all of them. There are kids' meals. You go up to the window, you order. Stickers all over the place. I think when we were there were warnings about like snakes in the toilet. Like, you are somewhere new. Appreciate it. Go fossicking in their pile and see what kind of opals you can get and enjoy it. Number 3, Grawin Club in the Scrub. Okay, sorry, I did say I was going to shut up about Easter. Sorry, I fibbed, whatever. Okay, there were some special events going on for Easter. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so the Grawin Club in the Scrub. This, you'll see when you go in, it's like a members club. And I'm not sure the full story. It's some kind of thing about like, if it's a club, the taxes or something for alcohol licensing or whatever are different. So when you go in, you have to sign the visitor's book. Everyone's a visitor. Don't get all stressed out about that. This place has a huge back patio area. I would say it's the nicest of the 3 that we visited. Has pool tables inside, actual inside areas where you could sit and kind of cool down from the sun. Nice drinks, lovely area. Big fossicking pit, like always, and also like a little craft shop out to the side. Listen, just go, walk around, see what's there. Now, Easter special. I took a video for you guys because this is next level. So, Yabby races. Listen, I've been to a lot of major sporting events worldwide. I've been to the baseball in Japan. I've been to NFL games in the US, hockey games. I've been to rugby games in Australia. I'm not even going to list them all for you. The enthusiasm that came along with a yabby race is like I have never experienced before. So a yabby is kind of like a crayfish, like a little kind of lobstery kind of thing, like it's got little legs and stuff like that. They put them in a bucket thing, and they have numbers on their back, and people take bets on which yabby is going to go outside of the line first. I have never heard so much screaming and so much enthusiasm for a crawfish that is smaller than my four fingers put together. And so I don't know how often the yabby races happen. I'm guessing they made sure it was happening for Easter weekend while we were there, but I also think they probably happen on weekends kind of on a regular basis. Call them, check. I don't know. It was worth it. The enthusiasm is infectious. I didn't bet on a yabby, but like, gosh, I was really roped in. It's one of the first times in Australia where I've sort of felt like actually physically like squashed from the action going on around us. But it was very worth it. Very exciting. The guy doing them was like so stereotypical. Like he's got a hat and he's like bristled and he's like a miner and like it was so good. Go get a yabby. Do it. All right. So this was on our tour. Just sharing it with you because you can just go. There's a war memorial called the Sheepyard War Memorial. So obviously it's near the Sheepyard Inn by Lake Beard. This is a storage shed or like a shipping container just on an opal field, as most things are now, that has been made into a war memorial with items donated from the local community. So just like in the US, oftentimes the soldiers that go overseas are disproportionately represented by rural communities. Same is true with the Grawin Opal fields. And so I actually am a fan of war memorials. I recommend the one in Canberra. I recommend the one in Sydney. I recommend the one in Lightning Ridge. It was so cool. They had like uniforms and photos, and I'm going to show you a couple photos because they were so captivating, and we were lucky enough to be there with a keeper who was telling us some of the stories behind it. So that's like one reason I do recommend you go on the tour, because they'll make sure someone is there to walk you through. Whereas, you know, sometimes if you just walk through yourself, you're like, okay, cool, photos, I'm out. So 2 photos. One, there was this very large photo of the soldiers in World War I. So Australia fought a really famous battle in Gallipoli where it's in Turkey, lots and lots and lots of people died. And this was the photo, I think it was taken on the steps of the pyramid in Giza, and it was before the Australian soldiers marched to Gallipoli. And in it, you'll see someone holding a guy kind of like around the neck, chest. That guy was actually dead. He died the day before, but they wanted his mom to see him in a photo for the last time. And so they held up his corpse and made it look like he was just like hanging out so that he could be in a photo for the last time, which is like so heartbreaking and so endearing and so lovely. The second part of this photo that is just like so gut-wrenching, and these are the human stories that make all of these things real, are men with linked arms, and it's a father and his 4 sons, and I think it's either none of them made it back or only one of them made it back from the war in Gallipoli. So I highly recommend the War Memorial. It's lovely. It's just small. Like that's, I think, could be summarize so many things about Lightning Ridge. Like it's something you've never seen before, and it's small and it's quaint, and it's just amazing that a place so tiny is keeping so much rich culture alive. The other thing you may see on your drive to the pubs, oh, I should have checked what these things are called. You will see a big piece of mining equipment that's bright blue. That is the equipment thingy, psh, it's got a name, I'm sure, of the Outback Opal Hunters, who have the TV show, who I got a photo next to at the Easter Festival. Yeah, so if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's fine. Just go watch a couple episodes on TV before you go to Lightning Ridge, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, okay, now I'm across the situation. That's their blue thing. All right, so let's say you rock up to Lightning Ridge. It may or may not be the Easter Festival. Who knows? Sorry, I said I'd shut up about the Easter Festival. What are the must-sees? So it's a tiny town. There's a main street. You'll go to the main street. All up and down the main street are opal shops. Tons of them. I cannot give you advice on how to shop for opals. You just go, you have a look around, you'll figure out pretty quickly how prices compare and what place makes you feel comfortable and whatever. It won't take you long. Go up, go down. Alongside the main street are some of like the old cottages. So you'll see like the oldest cottage that remains from when opals were discovered, all things like that. That's pretty much the whole town. Done. The only other thing in town is John Murray art. So he is a famous artist, and he paints emus. They're pronounced emu. Say emu and you'll get laughed at. Emus with like these big eyeballs with kind of like seams in their eyeballs. Super famous. You'll see his murals driving into town. You'll see them driving out of town. You'll see them everywhere. And he has a studio in like a studio and a gallery in the main part of town. I couldn't take any photos. You're not allowed to take photos inside, but go in. Beautiful art, really lovely. That's definitely a must-see when you're in Lightning Ridge. Okay, then you're gonna have to kind of drive around and find some other stuff. So, other exciting things in Lightning Ridge. The water theme park. The Lightning Ridge Water Theme Park. Not theme park so much as you might be thinking theme park. Listen, it's a tiny town. But I will tell you, it is hot. We went, so Easter was the end of March, which is supposed to be fall. It was hot. It's freaking hot. You will probably want a day where you can take the kids to the pool. So the theme park has like an Olympic-sized pool, like normal. It has a wave pool, super fun, splashy, splashy. It has a slide, and it has like these floaty animal things that you can float. Go, spend some time. It's definitely a destination, so you can get out of the heat. It's not expensive, but bring cash. They don't take cards. That's actually a recommendation across all the things. Just bring some cash. You don't know what it's like in the Wild West. Bring cash. Okay, talking about water, just slightly out of town, are the Artisan Bore Baths. So these are lovely. I highly recommend going at sunrise or sunset. We did both. We went every day we were there. It's fantastic. They're free. They're just like pools that are fed by natural springs. And the different pools are different temperatures. The largest one is certainly a great temperature for kids to go in. It's not a hot spring in the sense of like it's burning hot. One of them is pretty warm, and that's about it. There's shower facilities there. The baths are lovely. It's not splashy splashy. It's relaxed space, but it would also be nice to go and take a picnic. Really lovely spot and free. Why wouldn't you go? It's free. And sunrise and sunset. Also, you know I'm a sucker for the largest or whateverest thing in the world or southern hemisphere. Buckle up for the largest privately owned cactus garden in the southern hemisphere. Had a really long talk with the family. So it's the Bevan's Cactus Garden. It's the Bevans who own it. It's in its second or third generation. There's a competing cactus garden in Melbourne or Victoria somewhere that has more area, but not as many plants. Listen, I'm not going to get into the details about how these things are calculated. All I know is I went, it has beautiful cactuses, it has really great signs, and they said that they were the largest privately owned in the Southern Hemisphere, and I'm going to take it and roll with it and take it off of my box. It's about $10 to go in, bring cash, again, oh my gosh. Really lovely. You can even buy succulents if you live somewhere where you can drive them home with you. And it was a really nice destination to go. Okay, all over Lightning Ridge are car door tours. It's hard to say, car door tours. So these are literally car doors off of like junked cars that they'll paint one color and put numbers and arrows. So I like the red car door tour. It's close to town. It has the funkiest stuff on it, and it's a short circuit, so you're not driving for ages. There's a green one, there's whatever. There's other colors, there's maps you can get at the visitor center to drive around and see stuff. Highly recommend the red car door tour. And then if you have more you want to do, fine. We actually stayed at a place on the red car door tour, which I will talk about later. On the red car door tour is Ridge Castle, this ridiculous Monty Python-esque castle with like soldiers and like bottle walls and like things built from Coke cans. It's ridiculous. It's amazing. It's a great photo opportunity. There's also a place called the Astronomer's Monument, which, listen, I don't want to be uncharitable. It's hilarious in the magnitude of which it would not work. This person, as far as I can tell, was just filling up buckets with cement and piling them on top of each other. The whole thing looks like it's about to cave over. There's scaffolding all over it. But if you read the Google reviews, there's a very big divide between people who are really supportive of this work of art and other people who think the person's like lost their marbles a little bit. Definitely worth seeing. It's only like a half a mile away from the other place, so why not go see it? And if you finish the red car door tour, there's like another castle, Amigo's Castle, that someone else built because they felt like they needed a castle out of different rocks. It's nuts. And the whole place is filled with mines. So these are just holes in the ground, and you'll notice them because they have like a little fenced area and like a stick and like a tag on it that says it's someone's mine. It's just a next level experience. I should have said about Fossicking, if you are at someone's mine, that is, it's a privately owned thing, you cannot, it is big no-no to take anything. And since I mentioned it, let's talk about where to stay and where to eat. Okay, I already said I stayed at the red car door tour. It's a lot to say. You can rent out the entire Ridge Castle. I've posted links below. It's amazing. It's just way too big for me and Maddie traveling alone. So out the back of the Ridge Castle is what's called a mining camp, because there's mines just like all over the place. And it was literally a shipping container, which is what mining camps are, that has been converted into an Airbnb. It was so funky and amazing. So first of all, the sunrises and sunsets are spectacular. And this is just a place with no building codes. It is amazing. So it's like a toilet in like an outhouse thing, and then like someone put on a deck, and then there's a fire pit, and then there's like a boat for some reason, and it's insanity. And you can walk around and it's all kinds of insanity everywhere. I'm not even doing it justice. Look at the photos. We had frogs in our toilet, which is fantastic. Like, there's no water. It's a desert. It's so dry. And so we had these like bright green frogs in our toilet. And I know that sounds scary. A lot of animals in Australia sound scary, but you get used to them. And the first time, Maddie was as scared as anything to have a frog like jump out at her while she was like peeing on it. But after the first time, we all got used to the frogs in the toilet, and we were like, oh, hello, frog. Why don't you move before I use the toilet? And they're cute. So cute. So I really recommend either the Ridge Castle or the storage container out the back, links below, because it's just like, sure, you could stay in a hotel somewhere, but what would be the fun in that, right? So these are normal beds. You're sleeping in a nice, comfortable bed, but you are somewhere else that just feels like you're on a different planet, and it's fantastic. So do that. Food. It's a small town. There's not a lot of food options, people. There's just not. You have more food options Easter weekend because there's kind of like some like food truck kind of places, carts. There's a cafe, there's a bowling club, there's like an Italian restaurant, and that is it. So we were big fans of the bowling club. So let me just tell you first, We talked about pubs, now let's talk about bowling clubs. Bowling clubs are a thing. Every town has a bowling club. It originally was from lawn bowls, but some of them don't have lawn bowls anymore, and they're just called bowling clubs. But like the Grawin Club in the Scrub, they're clubs, so you join. So the Lightning Ridge Bowling Club, you join for $2, and you get a $2 off voucher coupon when you sign up. So it doesn't actually cost you anything, and you're a member for a year. And the place inside is epic. Like, it's the biggest thing in Lightning Ridge. It is just massive. Like, 3 giant rooms with more TV screens than you've seen in your life. And I have been to Buffalo Wild Wings. Can't compete. More TV shows and sports than you have ever seen in your life, and actually decent food. So we went to the bowling club a lot. There's also a place next door that's not bad, but food is the thing. Like, this is true whenever you travel to country towns. There's not a lot of food options. So if you want, plan that in. Like, if your family gets sick of fried food after a short amount of time, go to the grocery store, get some accommodation that has like a couple of kitchen things in it, which my storage shed, thank you very much. And you might want to plan to cook a few things on your own if you don't want to be eating at a pub every night, because that's all there is. Okay, now, firstly, I don't know if this is typically a Lightning Ridge thing, but I got it at the Easter Festival. It's really cool. This is a throwing club. It's an Indigenous throwing club, and I fell in love with the wood. It's just like such a beautifully grained wood. And so this would have been used, obviously, for throwing, but because of the shape, it also would clunk someone out pretty good, and it's fun to twirl around. Sorry, that's probably... Don't twirl things in the house. You will get in a lot of trouble. We found, like I told you, all kinds of little opal-y bits. I showed you the best ones earlier, so I won't bore you by going through those again. But then we also bought opal-y bits, okay? So, I'm just keeping them all on my secret table behind me. Okay, so a few opal-y bits that we got at the Easter Festival, but you can also get them in a shop if you were not at the Easter Festival, cool like I was. And we're talking about like a couple bucks. So this one, so here, have a look at this one. This is my favorite. So look at this blue opal. It's just fantastic. I bought this for $5, which in US dollars is like $3.50. And the reason it's so cheap, even though it's like a lot of opal, is that commercially, like I was saying before, it's just not valuable. You can't cut this up. You can't make a necklace out of it. So you can't see from the video, sorry, but like it's got, let me zoom in. You can't see from the video, but like it's got like purple, it's got blue, it's got depth. It's so interesting, and I love it, and super cheap. So this is the kind of thing that you can get that really just doesn't make sense for them to export outside of Lightning Ridge, you know? So you're getting, like, what would happen, like, I bought this from a dude. He finds a giant rock, like, he has a mine, he digs up a giant rock, and then he just cuts slices of it. So he can tell that there's opal inside, and that it wouldn't be worth it for him to cut it up like in a jewelry sort of way. So he just slices it like this and sells it for $5 a piece. So cool! You don't have to spend a lot of money to have fun in Lightning Ridge. Okay, this little jar we bought, so cool. So this is a lot like what we were finding, but these ones are cooler. I think we looked around at a lot of places. We bought this one for $7. We thought it was worth it. It's got like purples and blues, and it's just like so beautiful. We found 1 or 2 pieces that were this high of quality on our own in our few days of looking, but this was a collection of just like higher quality pieces than we found on our own, and so we thought it was worth like the $7 or $10 splurge to get. And you'll notice when you see opals, like when you're shopping at the market, they're always in water because that's what makes them really shine. A couple more. This one we found on our own. It just has like some really tiny little bits and seams of opal. Like, I think this was even a $2 one. It has some purple in it. It's so cool. And again, just not worth cutting. You can even, oh, look at this one. Just so, this is all potch, but like a blue color potch. So cool. So you can even, if you do strike it rich and find a really cool piece of opal, you can take it into a shop on the main street and ask them to cut it for you. I mean, they'll quote you prices. In our experience, we found a couple. We felt like, ooh, maybe this would be worth it. They're super honest about whether or not it's worth it. In our case, none of them were worth it to cut. But it's just a town that's so steeped in opals, like they'll just let you know, like, nope, that one's not going to work, or that would work. So that would also be a great souvenir. Okay, last one we did, I know, just buy like a legit opal. Firstly, sorry, I'm going on about the Easter, but you really need to go during Easter. So check this out. Pendants made from potch that they were giving away at the Easter festival. How cute! So good. So Maddie did an egg and spoon race. She came in second. So cute, like such a lovely small town feel. She got this potch pendant that now is like a great souvenir. And then we did buy like a legit opal necklace. This, I would say we paid about like 40 bucks, so that would be $30 US for. Just really lovely. It's a nice souvenir. We splashed out. Certainly there are going to be people who use this as an opportunity to buy real opal jewelry. And if you were in the market for it, absolutely. There are a lot of fine stores there where you could buy larger pieces. Okay, have I convinced you? I am so excited for your Lightning Ridge trip. It's about an 8-hour drive out of Sydney. You can check out the options, but honestly, I think driving's the best way to do it. We rented a car and did it because we don't own a car. The public transport options in terms of flights or trains are going to be pretty sparse. Make it a road trip. If you're driving from Sydney, I highly recommend either stopping in Dubbo or Coonabarabran. There are so many small town experiences for you to have on the way that make it a fantastic road trip. All right, I hope you have a blast. Like I said, Lightning Ridge is fantastic to visit for a long weekend any time of year. Bring cash. Make sure you're stocked with gas. When we were there, one of the gas stations ran out of petrol. What's called petrol here? Ran out of petrol. Whew, wow, look at that. So just make sure, like, anytime you're out kind of in a remote area, that you have a bit of water, you have cash on you. You don't know what technology is going to be working or not, but you'll be fine. This is one of the most accessible ways to visit the Outback, get that true Wild West experience, and visit some amazing pubs and get opals for free at the same time. I really hope you enjoy it. See you.